Hi, my name is Andrea Kleinbauer. I'm a registered dietitian and a recent graduate from Florida State University. And today I'm going to be talking about intuitive eating as my nutrition topic. So starting off, I'm just going to explain a few different eating personalities that different individuals have. So the first one is the careful eater. These individuals consider themselves to be perfect eaters. They're very conscious about every food that goes into their body, and they believe they're very health promoted, health devoted. Unfortunately, they tend to undereat the amount of calories they should be having, and if they don't eat something that they consider perfect, they have this immense guilt. So the next one we have is the professional dieter. These individuals are very conscious about weight loss. Everything they put into their body is for weight loss. So they're going to be using tools such as calorie counters, step trackers, all those type of things to monitor all their calorie intake, output, and everything like that. The next one we have is a chaotic eater. These are the individuals that are constantly on the go. They're busy jobs, on the road, traveling, stuff like that. They're eating when they can. They're doing grab and go, gulp and go, anything that they can get their hands on, they snack on fast, quick, that's the way they eat. Continuing on, we have the refuse not eaters. These are the ones that if it's in front of them, they're going to eat it. So for example, we all had Super Bowl Sunday recently. Let's say, a lot of people have those snack tables. For someone that is this refuse not eater, what they're going to do is they're going to see a snack table and they're going to go right to the snack table and eat it because it's there. The next one we have is the waste not eater. These individuals are very financial, conscious, stuff like that, so they're viewing food as money. So they're going to clean their plate entirely because they say, all right, I see I've paid this much money for all this food, I'm going to finish it because it's worth my money. So they're going to finish it even if they are full. The next one are the emotional eaters. So this one's a very common one because we all hear, when someone's sad, they get a thing of ice cream, or maybe if they're angry, they go for chicken wings. They put their emotions into food. They channel it into food, and they're using food as their outlet, basically, to express their emotions. And then the last type of eater that we have is the intuitive eater, and this is the one that I'm really going to explain more throughout this presentation. These are the ones that honor their hunger cues, listen to their body, they're more in tune with their body, they're going to eat when they're hungry and stop when they're full. So, I can't really explain intuitive eating until I explain the opposite of it, which are dieting. So basically I'm going to explain why diets don't work from a biological standpoint. So our bodies require fuel every single day for us to even just get up, breathe, everything. So when you do dieting, it's basically a short-term starvation. You're depriving your body of these needed, necessary nutrients, calories, all of this. So basically what can happen is you can decrease your metabolic rate. And what I mean by this is it's just your metabolic rate is basically how effectively your body is using its calories. So the less energy you give your body, the more it's going to be inclined to store it all because it's afraid. It wants to survive. So it's going to store more than utilize it, and therefore they're seeing even in research that people who tend to diet tend to keep on like fat and calories more than people who just eat when they want to, eat what they want to, and continue on like that. Another thing with why diets don't work is because they cause cravings. Our body is like a child. With children, if you tell them they can't have something, they want it more. It's the same thing with our bodies. If we say you can't have that, we're going to crave it more, and the cravings just get more intense until eventually we lose our willpower and we give into that craving, and that immense feeling of guilt kind of sets in. So with dieting, it's never a very go-to, and you don't see people staying on diets for long terms. They stay on diets for a short term of time because that's all they can really do. So it's basically just short-term starvation with diets. And so, you always see, there's always new diets surfacing on social media. You see them through the grocery store. Common ones are the tea detoxes. You see paleo, keto, intermittent fasting. There's a bunch of new fads, always new trends and stuff. But the common thing with it is you always see it being a short-term thing. And then normally what happens is after the diet's done or you've had enough of it, basically you binge on what you couldn't have, and so it kind of causes worse effects in the long run than it did in that short period of time. So that's kind of why diets don't really work. They're not long lasting. So the two different mentalities we have the diet mentality and the non-diet mentality. So let's say you have the diet mentality. Questions you're going to be asking yourself are, do I deserve it? You're going to feel guilt when you eat bad foods. It's a very dichotomous thinking. We put foods in a good and in a bad pile. And so when you eat a bad food, you have this really guilt-ridden feeling. and stuff like that. So then when you go to the non-diet mentality, you're starting to focus more on does this food taste good? Am I really hungry? And the biggest thing is you're telling yourself, I don't need to deserve a food. I have every power to have that food. It's just a cookie. I'm allowed to have that. I don't need a reason to have that. So it's the two different shifts in mentality. It's basically the biggest thing is the restriction component of it. When you're in a diet mentality, it's very restriction focused. So when you're a non-diet mentality, you're giving yourself more willpower, free power. You can have whatever you want. So as I've been talking about, intuitive eating, that's the main subject for today's presentation. So basically all intuitive eating is you're eating when you're hungry and you're stopping when you're full. Kind of a way to think about it, going back to the toddler thing, as you can see in the bottom corner as a kid, when you're a kid, you have those innate feelings. You don't see a toddler on a diet. When they want something, you're going to know that they want something. They're going to have it. They have no guilt about it. And they're done eating, they stop. We have that in us. It's just over time we lose that connection with our body just because of environmental stimuli. You have jobs. There's food's a social aspect now. When a toddler, they don't have that all the time. So what happens is over time we lose those hunger and satiety. And when I say satiety, I mean fullness. We lose that just because we're not listening to our body. We're listening more to what's around us. So intuitive eating is more just focusing back in, going basically back to your toddler stance, your toddler state of mind, and really listening into your body's cues. So that's a little more about what exactly intuitive eating is. It's just giving yourself the freedom to have what you want at any time. So what intuitive eating isn't is it's not a weight loss method. It's not another diet. It's not another plan. It's a lifelong thing. It's just a way to eat. There's no quick fix to it. It's just, and it takes time. The one thing I will say with intuitive eating is it's not easy. It's not like that. Diets aren't easy, and neither is intuitive eating. It takes time to really give yourself, the time to start listening to your body and thinking what do I want? What am I craving? What am I feeling? What's my emotions in that moment in time? And it doesn't mean that you don't care about nutrition. I know I keep saying, you can have whatever you want when you want. It's not like we're throwing nutrition out the door and, eating fast food every single day. But if you want it every once in a while, everything in moderation, it's not a bad idea. Give yourself that one little French fry here, or thing of French fries from McDonald's or Wendy's, wherever, and you won't have that craving anymore. It's not going to be in the back of your head for the next week. Just give it and then it's over. So that's the one thing with intuitive eating. So kind of going on, there are different components of intuitive eating. So the first one is kind of like I was saying before. It's giving yourself unconditional permission to eat foods when you are hungry. The next one is you're eating for physical rather than emotional reasons. So like I said before, just because you're crying doesn't mean you should have ice cream. If your body's craving that sugar, then yes. But you're eating more of a physical than an emotional standpoint. And then the last point is you are relying on your internal hunger and fullness cues. You're really listening to yourself. Am I really hungry and am I full? So those are kind of the components of intuitive eating, as well as there are principles to intuitive eating. So I'm going to kind of go through them and explain a little bit about what each of the principles mean. So the first one is to reject the diet mentality. You need to understand what the dieting does to you and how it just does not work. You need to be aware that a lot of times with dieting, you're tracking calories, you're stepping on the scale. If you're rejecting the diet mentality, you are not doing that. You are not weighing yourself every single day or weighing yourself after a meal, and you're not tracking every calorie. You have to have confidence in your body that you are eating as much as you need and having what you need. Your body will tell you what nutrients it's lacking. It's a fun little thing like that. So the next principle is going to be the honor your hunger. So basically, if you're hungry, eat. There's a hunger scale, also that concept. It's really realizing what side of the hunger scale you're on. Are you absolutely ravishing, starving, or are you extremely full? You want to be in about the middle, where you're starting to feel it. You might have your stomach's going to start growling a little bit. You might get a little irritable. Really listen to your body. When you start feeling those, then that means you need to eat. Even when you have a busy work day, and I understand, it's hard, you have clients and everything like that, but, a little snack here and there, it'll really help in the long run. So it's basically really just, when you're hungry, eat. The next one is making peace with food. You're giving yourself unconditional permission to eat. There's no restriction. It's basically the whole restriction thing is going away. You're allowing yourself to have those foods that you never thought you could have before. Maybe it's Oreos, maybe it's cake, maybe it's fried chicken, anything like that. You're allowing yourself to have those foods because they're not a good and they're not a bad food. Every food should be seen on the same playing field. It's just food. That's how you need to look at it. It's just energy. It's just providing, no matter what it is providing energy for your body. So the next one is challenging the food police. This is that dichotomous black and white, good and bad feeling. That little voice in your head that's telling you that something's bad versus something good. You need to tell yourself, well, why is that bad? Well, why is that good? Because like I said before, food is just food. It is there to just provide energy. So you need to challenge yourself and be like, it's not bad. I can have it. It's not going to kill me. Like every once in a while, everything in moderation is fine. So the next one is feel your fullness. Just like I was mentioning with honor your hunger, you do want to feel your fullness. If you are full, then you shouldn't need to eat anymore. When your body's had enough, you'll feel it. Sometimes though, it's hard with the fullness is because we do eat socially, or we do want to clean our plate, or we are watching TV while we eat. We kind of ignore those signals that our body gives us, or we eat too fast because basically our brain doesn't tell our stomach it's not working fast enough, or our stomach isn't getting to our brain fast enough. So we need to slow down our eating, take away the distractions, and really feel when we are full, because your body's only going to want when it does, and everything else, that's when the storing starts happening, is when you kind of don't listen to your fullness and the satiety cues, and that's when everything starts storing. The next one is discover the satisfaction factor. Know that food tastes good, and you need to know what foods taste good and what foods that you like, and really savor. If you had that piece of cake, don't just scarf it down real quick. Enjoy it. You're having this piece of cake. Maybe it's a birthday cake. Someone baked it for you. Really enjoy it. Engage in all the flavors, the aromas, everything. Really make an experience with your food, because the more that you actually enjoy it, the more you're going to not feel as guilty, because you're just like, that was a really good piece of cake. If you have those feelings in the back of your head, you're like, I don't regret it. I loved that. That's what you need to really come in tone with. And plus, when you make food, it's not like a 2-second process either. Enjoy the time that you put into a meal. It's 2 hours and you finish a meal in 10 minutes. So really starting to enjoy the flavors, aroma, everything around the meal. The next one is coping with your emotions without food. So once again, a lot of times people do put their emotions into food. So it's finding other activities, maybe going for a jog, or talking with friends, or journaling, something like that, just to distract you from it. I mean, sometimes if you're not hungry and you're just eating food out of a way because you're sad, angry, happy, finding other things. You don't want food to be seen as a reward or a punishment. You want it to be something physical. Because you're hungry, you're eating, not just because you're emotional. So finding different activities just to, channel your emotions into instead of food. So that's the next kind of principle. And then respecting your body. You have to accept that what your body is, it might not look like this ideal image that is being portrayed by society or social media, but you need to accept this is who you are, and you have to accept all the great things that your body does for you. I mean, every day you wake up in the morning, you're able to get out of bed. Your body does all those amazing things for you. And just because it doesn't look like something you saw on Facebook, Instagram, Google, any of those, doesn't mean that your body isn't great just as the way it is. It's really kind of honoring the health of your body opposed to the image of it. And that's the concept of health at every size comes in. Just because someone's bigger versus someone's smaller doesn't mean one's healthier than the other. You could have a really, really skinny person who's super unhealthy, and then a bigger person who's healthier. So it's not just about the weight. It's looking at, honestly, lab values and, are you actually healthy? Because what's on the outside is not going to reflect what's on the inside. So it's honoring your body, loving it. This is your body, and this is what you're doing with it. Next, we have exercise and feel the difference. Enjoy having activity. Enjoy the physical activity. Don't just exercise because you ate something and it wasn't good. It was a bad food, and now you're exercising because you want to burn the calories. Exercise should not be viewed as, this is a way for me to burn calories, or a punishment because I ate that. View exercise as, this is a way to make me stronger. It release my endorphins, get your heart pumping. It's good for heart health, your bone health, everything. View exercise as you're healing your body, helping your body, not as punishing it. And that's another, building a healthier relationship with food is exercise too. And then lastly, honor your health with gentle nutrition. So like I said before, intuitive eating isn't throwing away nutrition. You still want to make the conscious choices of, yes, have your green leafies, make sure you have your lean proteins. You want to make sure you're gearing yourself more towards those, but everything in moderation. If you want to have, some green leafies with something that's fried every once in a while, that's fine. At least you're getting your vitamins and minerals from there, or you want a potato. I love potatoes. That's fine to do. It's just making sure that you're giving yourself the nutrition that you need, as well as giving into your cravings, because once you do it, you won't have that craving again. And so basically this is just the references of my presentation. So I hope that maybe you learned a little more about what intuitive eating is. It's a passion of mine, and thank you for letting me present to you today.